you read your statement as we combine all the comments together?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is a request for a statement on the distribution of fake fertilizer to farmers in various parts of the country and in Kakamega in particular. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order number 53/1 to seek for this statement from the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries regarding this distribution of fake fertilizer to farmers in Kakamega and various parts of the country. Mr. Speaker, in the statement, the committee should, 1, explain the circumstances leading to the impounding of over 700 bags of fake fertilizer in Malaba constituency, Kakamega County, stating how many of these fake fertilizer bags had been distributed to or bought by farmers by the time the fake fertilizer was impounded. 2, state how many of the bags of fake fertilizer have been impounded countrywide, providing details of the suspects behind the packaging and distribution of the same, and assess and report on the impact of the distribution of fake fertilizer and other farm inputs to farmers on food production and food security in this country. 3, disclose how much of the over 700 million reportedly allocated by the county government of Kakamega towards the purchase of subsidized farm inputs was utilized in the purchase of the fake fertilizer. 4, inform the Senate of the measures in place to investigate and arrest the suspects behind the distribution of fake fertilizer to farmers and any further measures to ensure farmers are not exploited as they seek to assess farm inputs during the ongoing planting season. And finally, but not least, Mr. Speaker, the committee should order for a special audit by the Auditor General of the county's budgetary allocation expended on the purchase, procurement, and distribution of the said fertilizer, including an audit on the verification and acceptance report done on the authenticity of this fake fertilizer. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, if you look at our clock, you can see we have only 20 minutes to the end of the statement hour. So I want to give 3 members this side and 3 the other side. So, and kindly take 2 minutes just to make a comment on a statement. You don't need to debate, just a comment. We start with the Senator Joe Nyutu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that opportunity. I want to very quickly comment on the statement by Senator Murango of Kirinyaga about the roads in Grufani town. Mr. Speaker, I want to support this statement because we have been having towns that come up every other day, towns that had not been previously planned for. And in my county, we have Keno, Mr. Speaker, and Kabati. And I support and say that the government should be very responsive because this is a government that cares for its people, that when a town springs up, then the government should respond and provide the necessary road network, Mr. Speaker, sewer lines, water, and that kind, those amenities, Mr. Speaker. And the government has KURA, that is Kenya Urban Roads Authority, and so KURA should be very responsive to this, Mr. Speaker, and I support, even as I say that every other town that springs up should be taken care of, Mr. Speaker. Allow me to also comment on the statement by Senator Beth Siengo about the safety of learners, Mr. Speaker, on the roads. And this could not have come at a better time, Mr. Speaker. We lost about 2 weeks ago or so a number of students from Kenyatta University, Mr. Speaker. And my concern is that sometimes these drivers of institutional buses are not used to long distances, Mr. Speaker. And so there should be a good program to see to it that learners, whether in university or other lower levels, that they are safe on our roads, Mr. Speaker. And NTSA should see to it that the buses are designed to transport students, Mr. Speaker, that the drivers are trained even for long distance journeys, Mr. Speaker. So, because you say we do not have much time, Mr. Speaker, let me end there, but we must take care of our learners on the roads. We must respond to towns that just spring up and where most of our people are living. You know, I come from a county where we always talk of buroti, maguta, and when these burotis are sold, of course, Mr. Speaker, then we get towns that were not previously planned for. Thank you very much.
What did you say about plots? Can you kindly clarify?
Mr. Speaker, I meant nice plots. Our people will market them as buroti, maguta. Buroti means plot. Maguta means oily ones, good ones. That's what I meant, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Manzo Daniel.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to comment on Senator KHALWALE's statement. Mr. Speaker, the issue of fake fertilizer is a very serious matter in the country. And Mr. Speaker, that means that many farmers, and when you hear the amount of money is involved and the amounts, Mr. Speaker, and even the packaging, which is done by government institution, Mr. Speaker, it means a lot of farmers are going to be cheated. It means once you plant with fake fertilizer, you are not going to have a harvest despite the good rains in the country. It means a lot of residents' efforts are going to go into waste, Mr. Speaker. Have you worked so hard in your farm, believing and honestly so that you have bought the right quality of fertilizer? Mr. Speaker, this is a matter which involves crime, and I believe should be investigated thoroughly. But most probably, Mr. Speaker, is institutionalized crime. And some of the people dealing with this institution, Mr. Speaker, although the police have been very vigilant on this particular matter and caught some of this fertilizer in Molo, while in transit in lorries, Mr. Speaker, it's a matter, Mr. Speaker, which should be taken seriously by this Senate, and I'm glad to belong to the Committee of Agriculture. Those people must be brought into book, Mr. Speaker. Recommendations made to DCI and the prosecution ensue, Mr. Speaker. And the right thing done to these farmers, a way of retribution by the government to make sure the right fertilizers get to these farmers in good time. Mr. Speaker, as a Senate, we have a mandate to make sure that the counties are well taken care of. And I really want to thank Senator KHALWALE for taking this very fast action, bearing in mind the farmers who are being conned. They look so, you know, that they were very believing. They really believed and honestly so to the government, but somebody really cheated them. By the time they discovered these were stones, Mr. Speaker, it's a very serious matter. I thank you, and I would like to participate to make sure these people are brought to book. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Chalgei Samson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to support the statement by Senator Boni KHALWALE on the issue of fertilizer. Mr. Speaker, I think I brought a statement last week. Mr. Speaker, I said in Kapcherop in Elgeyo Marakwet County on Sunday that the selling of fake seeds and fake fertilizer should be declared a capital offense, just like murder. Mr. Speaker, Nandi, we have experienced such challenges in a number of cereals depots within Nandi County, and even we have seen in media, Mr. Speaker. I want to request the government that selling of fake fertilizer, fake seeds, should be declared capital offense. And if need be, Mr. Speaker, those people should be treated as terrorists. Because if as farmers we get fake fertilizer and fake seeds, we don't get food security. And when we don't get food security, Kenyans will die of hunger, Mr. Speaker, which is worse than terrorism, Mr. Speaker. So this is a very serious matter, Mr. Speaker. We expect the Minister of Interior, Professor Kithure Kindiki, to report to the nation what so far mechanisms he has put in place, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to call upon the CS of Agriculture to dissuade fears of farmers, Mr. Speaker, and even call out Kenya Bureau of Statistics. What were they doing until people are giving under subsidy program to sell fake fertilizer and fake seeds, Mr. Speaker? Somebody is sleeping on the job, Mr. Speaker. They either shape up or ship out, Mr. Speaker, because we cannot risk, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Chelagay, for record purposes, did you say Kenya Bureau of Statistics?
Yes, Kenya Bureau of Standards, sorry. Kenya Bureau of Standards, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And that is why you are the one of the chair Njeke members. Mr. Speaker, I know that what was Kenya Bureau of Standards doing? Until farmers, Mr. Speaker, it is very embarrassing, and I'm told even they are mixing donkey feces with mara, Mr. Speaker, and selling to farmers. Somebody must be arrested, somebody must be, and I want to thank the president because he was in the county of Kakamega, and he declared this is a very serious travesty against farmers, Mr. Speaker. But from where we farm, I want to assure the country, when we get the right fertilizer and right seeds, I can assure you, as the way the price of unga is going down, it shall continue to go down. Finally, Mr. Speaker, on the issue of P1, ECD teachers and diploma, Mr. Speaker, where do you want D- and D+ children to go? Mr. Speaker, we are having a problem. We must ensure the D- and D+ get to enroll to ECD and P1 teachers, Mr. Speaker. I want to support what Senator Seki has said, Mr. Speaker. Teacher Service Commission must allow affirmative action. Because somebody who got D+ or D-, Mr. Speaker, we have had stories where they have become successful, Mr. Speaker. Even call county governments to improve on ECD welfare and salaries and remuneration, Mr. Speaker, and ensure that we protect these teachers, Mr. Speaker, and call upon counties to protect, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I appeal on behalf of many people who did not pass very well in university to get to university and colleges. Where will they go, Mr. Speaker? A D+, a D-, they are our children. We must agree that let us allow them to be ECD teachers, to be, Mr. Speaker, to get to P1 and get diploma teachers, Mr. Speaker. Let us not only reduce people, Mr. Speaker, D- and D+ to be preachers and gospel and pastors, Mr. Speaker, and religious leaders. Even eight people can become pastors and religious leaders, Mr. Speaker. Let us not only say a child who gets D+ or D- becomes a pastor or a sheikh or a Hindu leader or any other leader, Mr. Speaker. We must agree, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with those very many remarks.
There's a point of order from Senator Mandago.
Okay.
Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 105 on the statement of fact. Is the Senator of Nandi, can the Senator of Nandi prove that religious leaders are people of D- and D+, Honorable Speaker? I'm aware of my Bishop of AIC Kenya, Honorable Speaker, who is a PhD holder. My leader of Reformed Church, the moderator of Reformed Church of East Africa, is a master's holder, Honorable Speaker. He is the Senator for Nandi in order to mislead this House that religious leaders have low academic qualification.
Let's get another one from the majority leader.
Speaker, I agree with Senator Manago that Senator Cherargei should either, in fact, he must withdraw and apologize to religious leaders for creating the assumption, Mr. Speaker, that pastors are academic dwarfs. Mr. Speaker, that is not accurate. Mr. Speaker, my own church, the AGC Kenya, is led by a bishop who is no less than a PhD holder, a very revered academic. Mr. Speaker, even the chairperson of EACC, just to help Senator Cherargei to appreciate that many of our pastors are well educated. Dr. Oginde, Mr. Speaker, is an architect by training who further on went on to study theology afterwards, and he is now the chairperson of EACC. Yeah. I'm not very sure about Faki's friend that he's mentioning, but Mr. Speaker, those two are very good examples. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, can Senator Cherargei clarify what he meant, or at least if he meant that their pastors or religious leaders are people of that are academically challenged, Mr. Speaker, then he needs to rectify that.
This issue has elicited a lot of interventions. And since this is not a simple matter, because even where I sit, my dad, late dad, was a church minister, Presbyterian church, and he was very educated. Senator Zena, on this point of order, I want to give five, actually, five, so that Senator Cherargei can really clarify this matter. of national importance.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to respond on the statement by Senator Sengo on the Dasanash community.
Senator John Yutu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I join my other colleagues in reminding Senator Cheralgei that religious leaders are learned people. For his information, Mr. Speaker, in the Catholic Church, for example, these are people who study, the priests study in the seminary for almost 10 years. So by Senator Cheralgei insinuating that they have not gone to school, I think he should apologize and withdraw. The second thing that I have an issue with, Mr. Speaker, is Senator Cheralgei's implication again that while supporting Senator Seki's statement, that where do you want D minuses and D pluses to go, Mr. Speaker? I wanted to tell him as a teacher that yes, we should support that affirmative action, that we should allow them to go to teaching, but not because it's only in teaching where they can go, where D minuses can go, Mr. Speaker, because he was like, where do you want them to go? Mr. Speaker, Senator Cheralgei should know that teaching is not the only place where somebody with a D minus can go. But I support affirmative action.
Senator
But that is not to
Cheralgei.
mean that teachers are people of D minuses and maybe E's. Thank you.
Senator Cheralgei conclude and
Chair, can I
clarify
clarify?
those very important points of orders.
Mr. Speaker, I think I was misheard by my colleagues because I meant people like Yesua Tongaren, I meant people like Nganga and the rest of this world, the Shakaola. Mr. Speaker, I have tremendous respect. For your information, my younger brother is a parish priest here in Kitengela. He went to seminary for 10 years, Mr. Speaker. I cannot be part of the people who demonize. I say people who lead sect organization in this country, the Shakaolas of this country, but all religious leaders are personal friends. Most of them have done very well, Mr. Speaker. So I was misheard, and I want to clarify as I conclude that I have tremendous respect, Mr. Speaker, and ask Mr. Speaker, just I was saying there is a perception in society that such children, but we need to take a necessary position, Mr. Speaker. I respect all religious leaders, but if you are Yesua Tongaren and the rest, we will not allow you, Mr. Speaker, to be part of it, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I thank you and I support. And also Joe was is a governor and was a D minus product.
Sorry? You want to make a comment?
Yeah, I want to contribute on this.
Sorry? Not on Cheralgei's issue now.
No, not on that.
Make your comment on the statement.
Yeah, on the statement.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, let me start by supporting the statement by Senator KHALWALE on fake fertilizer. And just to add that maybe the committee should consider conducting an inquiry into the